You guys referenced that dirty word a couple times, more than a couple times, entrepreneurship. Where did you guys get the bug from? I mean, was there an experience as a kid? Was there a person that was a mentor? I mean, not everyone's cut to walk away from Goldman Sachs, walk away from a successful career like you did, Michael. Where'd you get the bug from?
That's a really good question as well. I think a really, really key memory for me was an undergraduate entrepreneurship class that I took with the dean of the undergraduate program. And I was kind of first generation to go to a school like Emory, so getting an internship in an investment bank and let alone getting an opportunity to start my career in the London office of Morgan Stanley was a really big deal and an opportunity that I couldn't pass up. But in many ways, taking that plunge was entrepreneurial as well, because kind of as a 22-year-old jumping on a plane with no friends and not knowing where to live and starting a career in a foreign country is not the most straightforward way to start what is a very demanding career. But I remember taking that class, and I remember at graduation, Dean Hershatter gave me a hug and congratulated me and wished me well. And she whispered in my ear, "Call me when you're ready to be an entrepreneur." So I think that she saw something in the class that just awoke a curiosity. And I think also part of it has to do with kind of my upbringing. We didn't grow up with a lot of money. And so what I saw growing up is that at every kind of level that I saw success or what I perceived to be success, I have been happy and content with far less in terms of material success. So kind of at each rung, I actually perceived it to be less and less risky. Kind of looked at it as this is house money, right? So a guy who grew up in College Park, Georgia, goes to Emory, playing with house money. I get to work at Morgan Stanley, right? None of this is supposed to happen in the story. And so for me, I almost looked at it as a risk to stop looking at what could be. And I think the biggest driver for a lot of entrepreneurs that I talk to is obviously, the financial reward is an external scorecard or metric. But I think the learning and who you become as a part of the process of being an entrepreneur, I think that is what kind of creates that fraternity when entrepreneurs talk to one another about what it's like to operate a business or to hire people or to make a bet when you don't know the answer. There's a very small group of people who have kind of taken this career path, and it exposes you to a lot of personal growth, because at the end of the day, true entrepreneurs take responsibility for the outcomes, positive or negative. And so in different environments, you could say, well, I only did this part of the project, so if it failed, that's not really my fault. I did my part. Or so there's a place to hide. I think when you're at the front of the ship,
it's all your fault.
It's all your fault. There's nowhere to hide. And that can be scary, but it can also be exhilarating because you want to measure yourself against yourself and take a look back and say, 5 years ago, this is who I was in terms of raw material, but through these experiences, this is where I am. But I think the second piece of entrepreneurship and building teams, and Keith has done a really good job at Kruger Gilbert, really getting into the DNA of building the team. There's also a sense of pride of seeing how people that have joined you on this crazy adventure have grown and developed. And that's a really, really powerful feeling to not only say, hey, we're doing well or we're making money for investors, but to really see people go, hey, before you guys got here, I thought that this was my limit, but now I see that I can do more, and I'm actually curious to learn how to be better. So I think the bug has kind of always been there, and kind of how it's manifested itself has changed and probably will continue to change. And I will say, I guess at this point, having done a couple of these, I'm not the best employee going forward. My work style is very unique. It works for us. He knows me very well. Our team has gotten to know how I work, so they create allowances to allow me to do what I do that fits my personality and my skill set. But that's kind of, the bug has been there for a little while for me.